Hello, everybody out there. Tammy, Texas Desert Rose here. And we've got a part two. Connie Jo back for another show. We decided we need to have t-shirts made of that.
I love
And
it.
here we are on Halloween Eve, and we're going to do a deeper dive with the goddesses for those of you who are interested. Listen up and see if we can help you find out who yours are and where they're placed for you. So, welcome everyone. Welcome, Connie Jo.
Oh, Tammy, thank you for so much for having me. I love this subject. Love it.
Yes. Are you a big fan of the fall season, cooler weather? Although
Yes.
it's probably not that much cooler there for you, where
But
you
you
are.
know what? Even the 70s are so amazing here. I love it. Yeah.
It's pretty hot. It's
Yeah.
pretty hot where you are and
So
humid.
I love the fall weather.
Oh, there's so many who agree with you. Me, I'd rather sweat. I'm a weirdo. And I'm in West Texas, but boy, we woke up to below freezing temps this morning. So
Oh my gosh.
the
See,
desert definitely gets cold.
we don't get that
No, it's lovely now. It's probably a 65 to 70. Not too bad. I can take that. So
here. Yeah.
anyway, let's jump right in there. As far as the goddesses, there are so many. I was amazed by that. Connie Do, do you have a fairly basic way that people can look up these goddesses and where they are if they're interested in their chart?
Absolutely. So please go to astro.com or AstroSeek, either one of those websites. Most of those, they probably already have them included, the four main goddesses and Black Moon Lilith. If not, there's a simple drop down menu. You don't have to put in the asteroid numbers or anything like that. So it's fairly simple to access exactly where these goddesses live in your chart.
Okay, so when I've gone into astro.com, which I do quite a bit, there is a drop down I know where you can click it and it includes Ceres and I think Eris. I may have those wrong, but I think it's those two. I haven't seen the others, and this is Astro Dense or whatever. I haven't seen where the others are with drop down. Is there and it may not be that simple to express. People may have to just go discover it.
Um, if you can't find them that way, you can look at the asteroid numbers.
Mhm.
And you know what, Tammy? I don't know if you can put notes below, but I can actually give the asteroid numbers for each one. And I know they can go into a section of astro.com and put in that. It's just you put in the number and a comma, a number and a comma. It's fairly easy. If
Okay, I
anybody
can put it
needs
in the
help,
descriptor, right?
I would be happy to help anybody. And I will, I'll give those asteroid numbers. I don't have them right in front of me. I think Ceres, Ceres may be number one, but anyway, we'll do that.
Okay, yeah. That's interesting. So, of all of the asteroids, who's or which one's the one that you're drawn to the most?
I think of the actual asteroids, I'm probably most drawn to Pallas. I think
Mhm.
that, so this is Pallas Athena, and she is the goddess of wisdom. And she's called the diamond mind. So,
Ooh, I like that.
yes, because she's shaped like a diamond with a cross at the bottom. And
Yeah,
see, and she is totally the goddess that allows you to see patterns, that allows you to see into things in a way. Like, I believe my palace in Aquarius really gives me the ability to read astrology charts. It always came easy to me.
very
Algebra
well.
didn't, but you know what I mean? It's the same kind of pattern that, and she's also the goddess of strategy. Like, she can give you wisdom in a situation if you access that palace energy. Yeah.
Interesting. I believe, I haven't double checked, but I believe my Pallas Athena is in my eighth house of Pisces. And I noticed that, and this is before I knew anything about charts or goddesses or anything. In therapy sessions, I was able to see patterns so clearly
Oh
with
yeah.
people. And that was kind of like that
Light
was,
bulb moment.
yeah, it was my light bulb moment. It was natural talent for me in therapy. And
Yes.
a lot of people didn't do therapy like that.
You know, and it wouldn't surprise me if you're able to see patterns in spiritual energy, like see the
Mm.
synchronicities in things that other people might not notice. And I've gotten to know you pretty well. I know that you have it actually gives you a psychic ability, I think, especially in that eighth house.
It does. It's almost like that provides, I'm doing like this, I guess that's the diamond. It provides me a portal and the intuition pours in, but it's
Yes.
almost like I need to see the patterns first. Or maybe it's
Yeah.
the opposite sometimes too. Intuition and then see the patterns in that. I don't know, but it's a natural thing.
Yeah.
Rubik's Cube, I think.
It's like wherever she sits by sign and by house, you like Pisces, it would be more that knowing, that spiritual intuition, being able to see those patterns that of things in the eight, especially psychological patterns for
Yeah.
sure. Um, and then like let's say she's in the fourth, you might be able, this is kind of crazy, but you might be able to see the patterns in your ancestry, if it were in the fourth house or even in real estate, have that extra wisdom when it comes to buying and selling real estate. So
Yes.
she works in such a cool way. She really does.
I love that because your intuition's going off because my eighth house of Pisces, well, guess what's in my fourth? Neptune. So it
Yeah.
connects the eighth with the fourth, and both of
Yes.
those areas are areas that I get intuitive senses about.
And it's so cool for you, Tammy, because those are two water houses. So if
Um,
so just for everybody, if we're going by the natural wheel, we start with Aries, and then
mhm.
that puts the water houses, Cancer, the house of Cancer is the fourth, the house of Scorpio is the eighth, and the house of Pisces is the 12th in the natural wheel. So whether you start with Aries or not, those are still your water houses. You're
Beautiful.
Leo rising, right? So you're still
I still water.
so it's still a fire sign rising. So it's still just like Aries being the fire sign rising, it still puts those water houses in the fourth, the eighth, and the 12th, which
Yes.
I think gives you so many of your natural abilities.
That's a really, no wonder I go to see you.
Oh,
It's really nice. But then again, I was just watching and, Manson has Leo rising too. So
girl, I've done Manson's chart.
have
He
you?
But you've got to think though, Tammy, there was a charisma about that man. There
Yeah.
was. Why did people follow him? Because he was charismatic. I mean, let's look at his
Very
childhood. He didn't have a great upbringing, and then, but
horrible.
he still had that charisma base. It's almost like devilish to
Like Jim Jones, that
exactly.
charisma.
I'd like to look at his chart. I really would.
Oh, that would be interesting.
Yeah, I would.
That'd be really interesting. Yeah. So those of you listening who are not as versed in this area yet, don't think if you're a Leo of some sort, Leo rising particularly, that makes you a Manson or a Jim Jones. It's not at all. It's to say that there's so many pieces to the chart, and the reason why, Connie agreed to focus on the goddesses with me and what are those other the what are the other things? Gods, goddesses, and
Well, and then
placements.
we have the points. Like Black Moon Lilith isn't, although I don't want to confuse everybody, but there is an asteroid named Lilith. I don't remember the asteroid number right offhand, But
Okay.
these
That is
websites,
confusing.
yeah, so there's three different Liliths. Um, and let me, I'll go back in just a minute, but there is oscillating Lilith because she's derived by, I can't tell you because I let the computer do it. I mean, after
Yeah,
a while we
right? Don't
forget.
we all?
Yeah. So, and then because there's a wobble, the moon wobbles,
Yeah.
there is an oscillating Lilith and a true Lilith. So, what she really is astrologically is the furthest point from the earth, the darkest part in your chart. So, she
Like
represents
a,
the darkness.
okay. Feels like it'd be like having another Pluto. They won't stand for that very well.
Well,
Yeah.
she gets along really well with Pluto, actually.
Yep.
So, in synastry, they play well together. Um,
Okay.
but when I say the darkest point of your chart, just think with me a minute. When I'm going to quote a Bible verse, and I'm not particularly religious, but as God was walking the earth and found it null and void, there was nothing, and He created with His mouth or by speaking the words. That's, I got chills. That's how we can look at Lilith. She's in a spot that's null and void. There's nothing there. We have to create something from that
And
space.
that,
Isn't that crazy?
trying to think of what that reminds me of. I'll think of it in a little bit, but that is powerful. It's almost like there's power in the, it's nondescript,
It is. And it's infinite.
dark.
There is so
Interesting.
much power in that point of your chart. But here's the thing. So Black Moon Lilith, just quickly, so everybody will understand, there are many different legends of how she came about. Um, because I grew up in the Bible Belt and we're in America, I'm going to give you kind of the American legend. She was God created Adam and Lilith. She
Okay.
was, no Eve was there yet. So, not from
Right.
his bone, not from his rib, he put the two of them there.
Right.
Well, when they went to have relations, she would not be dominated. And because she would not be dominated, she was cast out. But she was given every bit as much power to create, to do everything as Adam was, but she was cast out. So then she became demonic and all of those other things that, um, but not really. But she's powerful. So in that point of our chart, the really cool thing about it is, and I get excited talking about it, it's like it's something that's not socially acceptable. It's like something we're not supposed to talk about. And if we can really admit what our Lilith really is and what it represents and let that out, let's just say you have Lilith and Leo, you might want to be the star of the show so bad you can't even stand it. But it's not socially acceptable to be that ambitious as a woman, especially. So you hide that, but deep inside, that's what you really, really want. Is that
Right. That makes all the sense in the world. I'm thinking of Wicked, that storyline where the
yeah.
dark is actually light and
Yes.
misunderstood. I'm
Yes.
thinking of Maleficent. I'm
Yes.
thinking there's so many storylines and what is it called? Cruella de Vil.
Oh,
Um,
101 Dalmatians.
but the newer version
Oh, I don't know the newer version.
where it's, oh my goodness, highly recommend you see it. But it's without giving much away, it is the light having been scorned goes into dark and figures out her light from embracing the dark, which is what you're talking about.
Is exactly what I'm talking about. She was scorned. And,
Yeah.
and because of that, she created her own form of lightness. But it's that there, I think the biggest thing about Lilith is overcoming the fear of what other people think.
Yeah. Yeah, embracing, which is kind of Leo rising from my
Yeah.
understanding, but maybe this is even deeper.
Yeah, it's like, so let's say she's in Cancer or in the fourth house. You might have this overwhelming desire to be the matriarch, to be number one in the family, to be the one. Or you might have a desire not to have a damn thing to do with any of them. But do you follow those true, deep, creative desires inside you? Or do you go along with what society wants? Because she is the one asteroid that is so rebellious, she does not care what society thinks.
So could this be just a one manifestation as if you have her in your fifth house, not really wanting to be a parent, but that's kind of frowned upon to choose that? And so do you acquiesce or do you go away from it? And I'm wondering if it interacts with the Saturn return, maybe that's just too complicated, where you really figure out which path you're going to take, or the
Yeah,
universe may decide for you actually what that
I
area is.
think you're absolutely right about that. And because we're speaking of children, so if you go way deep into the mythology, supposedly she killed children and all of this. But if you really look at the astrology, you will find that more often than not, Ceres, the goddess Ceres, is involved in that a lot more than Black Moon Lilith. And Lilith
And
gets the bad rap for it.
that's interesting because I mean, it seems like we could spend 2 hours just on one, particularly Black Moon Lilith.
Yeah.
So, do you want to go to Ceres or Pallas Athena, or who's on your mind next?
Well, Ceres, definitely, because she's badass in a whole different way. So in the chart, she's shaped like a question mark with a scythe at the bottom. She's the goddess of the harvest. So Ceres, is derived from cereal because she was the goddess.
To harvest the grain for cereal.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So one day, as Ceres was in her gardens, her daughter Persephone, she couldn't find her. And she looked and looked for, I can't remember how long, I think 7 days. Pluto had come and kidnapped Persephone and taken her into Hades with him and raped her and wasn't going to let her go. So she got permission from Jupiter, or it may have been Apollo, but one of the gods to go get her daughter. So she goes into Hades and she enters Pluto's territory. This is the only goddess or planet that has ever made a deal with Pluto. The deal with Pluto was made that she would take Persephone back for half of the year. So, as all of this was going on, and she was looking and looking and looking for her daughter, every crop on the earth dried up like winter or Scorpio season. When she got her daughter back, everything started to bloom again. So she rules these seasons and the time periods of life. She rules life and death. So she will often show up in a birth chart, but she'll often show up in a death chart as well. Because if Ceres is making a transit in your chart, you've got to think, is this an area that I'm supposed to harvest in, or is this an area I'm supposed to cut something out?
Oh, so when it gets transited?
So, yeah, in a transit, you can kind of look at it that way. In the
Mhm.
natal chart, it's a lot about what nourishes you, and how you were nourished as a child. What made you feel nourished. And she's also kind of associated with food disorders, with, excuse me, eating disorders as well.
Okay. To have or not have, to do without how much? The balance?
Yeah, because if it's not the right season, okay, it's not the right season for you to have this new friend in your life. She'll cut it out. You don't even have to do it. She'll make sure it's like you can find her when starting new things and when ending things. in transit and progression to your chart. It's very, very interesting how she works.
So would this be like I believe I have Ceres in my 11th house of groups of people, and when I find a band, it doesn't work out. And I
Yeah.
feel like it's being cut out because it's not the right fit at that
And
time.
that's what she will do. Um, she's ruthless. You've got to think she had to make a deal with Pluto in order to get her daughter back. So she really doesn't have a lot of mercy. When it's time or the right season for something to go or for something to come in, she will see that it happens.
Interesting. I think the hardest thing for me is to separate some of those out because many have a lot in common with each other,
Yeah,
uh,
they do.
like the beginnings and endings and all of that. But I guess that's where it's helpful to go back and look at some of the history to help separate them out. I heard a good point, I believe it was this week, that I don't know if it was Ceres or Aries, maybe you know, that was just discovered in 2005. And they made the point that no matter when it was discovered and got a name, it still has an impact on your chart even before you knew about it. So
Yeah.
that was interesting.
Isn't it interesting? And to your point, what has happened is a lot of, and I don't do this yet. I'm not saying I might not ever do this, but so think about this. Jupiter ruled Pisces and Jupiter ruled Sagittarius. It still rules Sagittarius. When Neptune was discovered, they assigned Neptune to Pisces. When
Mm.
Pluto was discovered, Mars was the ancient ruler of Scorpio. When Pluto was discovered, they assigned Pluto to Scorpio. So, what they're really looking at doing now is possibly assigning Ceres to Taurus. But
Oh,
so, and a lot of modern astrologers will use some of these asteroids and Tammy, I feel like I've got to say this. It's like there's so much masculine in the astrology chart. Everything but the moon and Venus is masculine, all of it. And it's like these goddesses, these asteroid goddesses bring in the feminine, which is needed.
a lot of power and control and using sex to overpower, it seems like that's a part.
Yeah,
Yeah,
agreed, my friend.
a lot of it. Um, Okay, so, and you guys keep in mind, we're just skimming the surface, hopefully to ignite your interest if you haven't looked at them before to go deeper with all of this.
Yeah,
Because if the planets give you permission to understand your chart and your life and your walk and your mission and, you know, your North Node and all of that, these just further that. And like you said, Connie Jo, there representation of the feminine, divine feminine. I really like that. So we've
yeah.
talked about Black Moon, Lilith, very abbreviatedly, and Ceres. What next?
Well, and we did talk about Pallas a little bit, our goddess of wisdom, who is so absolutely cool.
I
But
love.
let's talk about Juno. Because,
Okay.
all right, so everybody, Juno is the goddess of love. She is. She's the goddess of love. Everybody calls her the soulmate asteroid, but there is so much more depth to Juno that people don't really give her credit for. Now, she was married to Jupiter. Jupiter was not faithful to Juno, but he did make her high counsel in his courts. So she was somewhat of an advocate for women and children. So again, we have this goddess that comes in a lot of times in marriages or births, both, because she was an advocate for women and children. But everybody thinks she's shaped like a flower. Everybody
Oh, she's not delicate.
No, everybody thinks Juno is so sweet. Juno is demanding. It's like I'm
Make it.
looking at the transit chart right now, and Juno is in Sagittarius. In Sagittarius, Juno demands freedom. She demands the ability to expand. Don't try to tie her down in Sagittarius. And it's like, so she can cut, if you're looking at a synastry chart, she might be telling the other person what she expects in a marriage, in a relationship, in a commitment. And if she doesn't get that, she can get witchy really quick.
I can relate to that.
That's sweet friend. Yeah.
Even from a young age, being told, "Don't mess with Tammy," 'cause she won't tolerate it.
I wouldn't mess with Tammy. But
You're safe.
she's so cool because it's like that part of our chart is kind of for men and women. Now, this is for men's charts too. She is laying out the rules of play that you expect in your committed relationship. And but in transit and progression, she will show up in when there's deception. She'll show
Mm.
up sometimes when people are, falling in love. She is the goddess of love, but she has her boundaries and she demands respect for those boundaries.
So when she, quote, unquote, "shows up," is it to make sure that you're aware, to have your senses on alert to know whether you're being hoodwinked or not?
I
Like,
think,
let's say you meet somebody and you know what I mean?
yeah, if your Juno is not making, so everybody's synastry is putting the two natal charts together and
Yeah.
you see how the planets interact together. So if she's not interacting with your planets in a way that is harmonious, then, and just for instance, when my ex-husband, this was back in the 90s, late 90s, and he was cheating on me, it showed at my astrology teacher actually pointed it out to me because I was still really, really learning at that time, but
Sure.
pointed out to me how Juno had been activated by guess what planet? Neptune, the planet of
Mm.
deception.
Fusion, yeah.
Yeah.
Foggy mirrors.
Yes.
I I would be surprised if I don't have it in my 8th house of other people's money.
I am so tempted to look at your chart right now, but
Well, I'm gonna order a reading from you on it, and before we are done, I would love if you were able to share your information so that people could reach out to you for readings if they want one.
oh, I would absolutely be honored to do that. So, it's like these goddesses, you hear the word goddess and you think flowing gowns and lovely and all of this, but these ladies can be bitches. They are not
Yeah.
fooling
Vicious.
around.
And for those of you wondering, it's not Juno like the capital of Alaska. It is
Mm.
Juno, much more simple. And I would know in the Bible Belt, there could be, myself being here also, there can be this, well, aren't the goddesses the ones that compete with God? Not at all. Not at all.
No.
Not my understanding. So
Not from mine either. I mean, but I do, however, this may not be politically correct to say, but I
this is
do
not politically
believe
correct podcast.
that the goddesses have arisen again, that they're coming back so strongly because it was a very male dominated society. And it's like, and I'm not a feminist at all, but it's like
No, facts are facts.
finally we are seeing that there's definitely a patriarchy and we're bringing back the matriarchy. Women
Yes.
are strong. Yeah,
It's time.
I agree.
It is
Agree.
time. And it doesn't have to be, this is where I have a thing that I really don't like this, but to be pro-feminine doesn't mean it has to be anti-masculine.
Oh, no, not at all.
And
I
that seems to be
100. And
very common.
there is, I mean, there's a balance. It's just like our chart, Tammy. We
Mhm.
all have masculine and feminine in us.
Here, here.
And then if you agree, if you believe in past lives, you've probably been a male or a female, regardless of what you are now, or you were probably another gender in a past life. So, I mean, it's when we die, we don't have a gender when our souls are set free from their meat suit. So
Yeah.
it's about the masculine and the feminine coming together, the balance of all of it, I think.
So I think you've kind of answered this, Connie Jo, but this is, the Black Moon Lilith, the Pallas Athena, the Ceres, and the others that we go over. It's not just in a feminine chart. There isn't a feminine chart. It's feminine, masculine, yin yang in the
Yeah.
chart, and we all have the placements. The question is where.
Yeah, very well said. Because we all have Mars and, everybody talks about Mars and Venus. They're very relevant, but so that's masculine and feminine energy. We all have Mars and Venus in our chart. They were somewhere when we came onto this earth and up in the sky, whether they were together or not together, it doesn't matter. But it's the same, yes, it's the same premise. Exactly.
Okay, so we have done Black Moon Lilith, or Ceres, Pallas Athena. No, no, we
Yeah.
did Juno,
And so we have Vesta.
Vesta.
Wah, wah. Vesta's huge. She is a huge asteroid. I was trying to think of the asteroid numbers in my head. But I'm gonna send them to you, but I was trying just to think because I've done so much, but she's one of the great big asteroids.
Okay.
And she is shaped in the chart like flames. It's like she's
Oh,
like a V shape and there's
yeah,
flames.
I
It
like
comes
that.
up like a fireplace almost.
Okay.
It's her symbol is so cool. So she is the goddess of home and hearth. Ah, makes her sound so nice, doesn't it?
I have a feeling you're going to say, "Oh yeah, wait."
Wait, yes. So, just a tiny bit of mythology. Vesta was the goddess over the Vestal virgins. And what these virgins did was they kept the fires burning so that Rome would continue to win the war. That was their only task, was to keep the fires burning. And she was over this. So if we relate that to the natal chart, it's a place in our chart where there's passion, where the fires are burning, where we have this overwhelming desire to um, to express this passion that we have. And it doesn't, like, for instance, my Vesta is in the seventh house. So this could be a passion for committed relationships or not because it's in Cancer, a passion for
Mhm.
my family. It can be a passion for animals. It can be a passion for art, or it can be anything, right? It really
Okay.
can. It runs the gamut. But here's the thing.
Partnerships, anything. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So what they did, if one of the virgins let the fire, and when I say virgins, I don't mean virgins like we think of virgins today. I'm not saying that they were,
No.
I'm not saying that they were celibate.
Right.
Just okay. So what happens is that if they let the fire go out, they buried them alive. Okay, so let's relate that to the natal chart. If we don't attend to those flames and follow that our passion, then we become buried alive in depression, sorrow, boredom, whatever, if we're not attending to the flames of passion in our chart.
Okay, so depending on where that is what that passion is about.
Yeah,
And if you don't tend to it, then it's almost the idea, and it looks like a light, but shine your light.
yeah. But then if you only attend to the flames of Vesta, you suffer burnout. So it's like
Um,
you've got to remember to take a break. Okay. Like I was saying, and I'll just say this, with mine being in the seventh house, it means, yes, my passion can be toward my committed partner, other people in Cancer, my family. But if I don't take a break from that, I burn out.
as my grandmother used to say, too much of anything ain't good.
Your grandmother was so right. She was
Uh-huh.
right on it.
And her name was Virgia. That's
Oh,
interesting.
oh, I love it.
She embodied that.
What a
Balance.
wise woman. Yes,
Balance.
exactly.
Wow, I hadn't put that together. Thank you for that.
And then it gets even better. Okay. So used there a man, one of the Romans, was kind of over. So Vesta's the goddess, but a lot of times, if there's a three-way situation in a chart where there's a man and maybe two women,
Hmm.
in particular, Vesta will show up, or she's prominent in that part where there might be competition going on for,
Interesting.
yeah, that's one
What
part
fans
people
the
don't know
flames?
a lot.
Oh, is this may be, I mean, just let me know if this doesn't make sense, but is the purpose of Vesta to give strength, to give awareness, or is it just kind of like it just is?
I think it gives us strength where she is. It lets us see our passion and also or what we find really important to us. And y'all, this goes really deeper. Like if it's in the third house, it might be a passion for writing or expressing yourself. That's something you have. I have to express myself, that kind of thing. And so we're all passionate, or most of us are passionate about our families or whatever. But so it doesn't have to be something so known, but she does light a fire in that part of our chart. And when we kind of use her to our advantage, she gives us that energy that we need. Fire is energy.
So if you have Vesta, conjunct Mars or even in the same house as Mars, I would
Yeah.
imagine, do you have to really battle that balance?
Oh,
Because
I
that's where
think
your
so
energy
too.
goes. Yeah.
Absolutely. And, in synastry with other people, Vesta, it can be very sexual
Hmm.
and loving. But if she's like making an aspect to another person's chart that is not harmonious, something may be off in the sex life, or there may not be that passion there. I mean, passion is passion, no matter what it's used for.
Right.
She's one of the more complicated asteroids, I think, to really understand her purpose and what she's doing in the chart. And, but it's almost like once you kind of get your head around it a little bit,
Hmm.
it starts to make sense. Everything kind of falls into place.
Well, and again, I guess it's, my seeing in patterns, seeing her is different from some of the others, like separating those out. And
Yeah, a
that's the
little
first
bit.
thing I do. I look for nuance to learn.
Yeah.
Um, do we get to talk about Pallas Athena yet?
Well, I talked about her a little bit being the
You
goddess of
did?
strategy and patterns and
Oh, that's right. I was putting that under Black Moon Lilith. Okay.
but
We did.
but Pallas Athena, if I have this right, Pallas she was doing battle using strategy with her cousin. I think it was Athena, and Athena did not mean to kill her, and she gave Pallas her name, therefore Pallas Athena, because
Okay.
she didn't mean to kill her. It was an accident. but she really is a place in our chart where we can find strategy. And in transit and progression, you will see her show up like, let's say it's in a synastry chart, Tammy. It's like, this is if your Pallas is conjunct someone else's Mercury, you may be able to read each other's minds. Not even have to say a word. Read each other's minds.
A
It's
conduit.
powerful. Yes. And then, like, if it were with Mars, you understand the actions of another person. You can see what they really mean. She really gives you insight and wisdom. And I think that's why she's my favorite one, because she gives us that. And of all of the asteroids, she is probably the least feminine. She is one that would be more, what is that word? Help me here, where you're really not masculine or feminine.
Uh, like Mercury.
You like Mercury?
Um,
Yes, you
I
nailed it.
can't remember. I'll think of it.
I know,
I'll think
I
of
will
it.
too. When
Even her picture, if I remember correctly, is very few feminine features.
and so quite honestly, like in lesbians charts, she may be more prominent because um I have nothing against lesbians, y'all. Just saying. But
Oh.
she may show up because erogenous, is that the right word?
Androgynous.
Androgynous.
That's
That's the
it. Good job.
word.
Hmm.
She is the most androgynous of all, but it doesn't make her any less feminine or powerful, but she just has her energy can be masculine or feminine a lot more easily than some of these other goddesses.
Shapeshift even
A little, yeah.
without
Because
the negative tone to it or anything, but
right, because
okay.
she's very strategic. She
Wow.
really can give you insight. Like in progression, she may show up if you're starting a new project, giving you the wisdom to really go in and see the bones of the project and how it needs to be built, that kind of thing. I mean, I would say, and I haven't done a study on this, but she's probably very prominent in charts of mathematicians or engineers, that kind of thing. I have found that people that have Pallas strongly in their charts, if it's conjunct Mercury, especially, that they are, I always think, oh my God, this is a highly intelligent person,
Okay.
almost immediately.
Pragmatic is part of
Yeah,
it, like the bare bones. I think pragmatism and I don't, there's a lot that goes into this, but um my Mercury and Sag, I don't know if this is connected or not, but when I get really frustrated, I go extremely pragmatic and I go to the bare bones
yeah,
of things. And it helps me be more clear with my
yeah.
boundaries. Because I start going number one, number two, number three, and that's not usually me.
That is very Pallas, though. It
I
really
think
is.
it may be right there with my Mercury then.
Yeah, it could be. And I feel like I would kind of be remiss if I didn't mention this, but first of all, I want to say that I have found that people that are, I kind of don't like this, on the spectrum, with autism or Asperger's or something,
Mhm.
are some of the most intelligent people that, there's this intelligence behind their eyes, whether they can express it or not, it's there. But I have found
Absolutely.
that Pallas usually is pretty outspoken in their charts.
I love that. My personal and professional experience with it is those who are neurodivergent is a keen intuition,
Yeah,
um, and many can express, but even those who can't, like you said, there's still an awareness, there's still an ability to see, I think, even faster than some of the ones that have all of their quote unquote brain functioning capability.
agree. I
Yeah.
agree. And I think some of this is just really, I mean, I'm not afraid to talk about it, but I think some astrologers kind of don't touch that part of it. but it's part of life, isn't it? The fact
Yes.
that there's people that are some of the most intelligent people in the world that have that keen intuition, just like you were talking about, yet they may not be able to express it the same way that a quote unquote normal person would.
Yeah, whatever normal is, right?
Exactly. I agree.
Whatever that is, but um yeah, so this time is flying, Connie Joe. Are there any, like we could do, a Chris Brennan 10-hour podcast here. Is there any one or two that you want to focus on before we wrap up this part of the show?
Um,
There's so many.
those are the four that are so prominent when that, like I said, most astrological programs they're put in there automatically now.
Yeah.
But then there's Psyche and Eros. There's y'all, there's so many. There's thousands, thousands. There's
It's
like
overwhelming.
it is. It's like Eros is extremely sexual, passionate. Psyche is maybe a place in your chart where you have psychic insight into things, where you understand yourself. We don't always understand ourselves, but it could be a place in your chart where you understand yourself. Um, Hecate was a witch. She's kind of a guardian. She and her dogs kind of guard the underworld. Y'all, it gets so deep. Just talking about the four is a lot, but it truly gets deep. But I think Ceres is probably um she's the one I look for when something needs to go. I'm like, okay, where's Ceres?
Okay. Do you mind explaining a little bit more? I think I understand what you mean, but when you say I look for and where are you, what is your belief around that?
Well, I look for it in transit, like
Yeah.
so right this minute, she's at 4 degrees of Aries. So if you have
Okay.
planets around 4 degrees of Aries, or making a square to that or an aspect to that. And y'all, I'd love to do a reading and explain this deeper. It really it's too big of a bunny trail to go down to try
It
to
is.
explain all of that. But if you have something around that area of your chart, it could be something that you need to let go of. But you know what happens after she burned everything up, or because part of her symbolism is a flame. So after Ceres burned everything up and just scorched the earth when she was looking for her daughter, everything grew back. And I'm saying this because sometimes things have to be burned down before they can regrow and be stronger.
Chiron.
Pluto too. I mean,
Pluto, yes, the Phoenix, of course.
it's
Yes, there's a lot of those invitations in our chart and in
yeah,
our life.
absolutely. I mean, I don't know if any of your listeners, watchers, um, pay attention, have done tarot or anything, but it's like the Tower card.
Yeah.
Sometimes the whole belief system has to come down before something can, if because if we're hanging on to things, then nothing can really grow in its place.
I When you said that, the visual I just got is, when your plant is dying, you need to pace off those dead leaves because
Yeah.
it's taking up all the energy that is needed to grow something new.
Oh my gosh, you're so right. I mean, you nailed it. And that's what Ceres, the goddess of the harvest, is all about. Because if
Oh,
you don't get rid of the dead stuff, then nothing new can grow. And sometimes if we don't do it ourselves, like let's just say you're in a crap marriage. It has been horrible for years. The two of you are toxic together. It is just, and but both of you are hanging in there for whatever reason. Maybe it's financial. I mean, I'm getting real here. Maybe it's you own a house together. I'm telling you right now,
This is mine, that's theirs, and I don't want them to get mine.
yeah, if Ceres has had enough, if it's like that time, that season, something will happen and the marriage will finally disintegrate. Maybe not on your own terms. It's like she kind of gives you a chance to do something about things, and then if you don't, she'll take care of it.
It sounds so familiar, like it reminds me of Saturn and it reminds me of, you know what I mean? There's so many things.
Yeah.
So lots of opportunity in our lives to burn down what doesn't fit for us anymore so that we can grow something new.
Yeah, to make the changes. And am I saying this is easy? Oh my God, no. It's not,
Oh, it's our
it's not
school.
easy at all.
Yeah,
But in order to grow and become the people that we were meant to be, to go toward that north node in the chart and to become everything we're supposed to be, everything that we have the capacity to be. Sometimes we have to look at that dark side or this, things that aren't right. And look, everybody, I know sometimes we can't help things. I'm not criticizing nothing. I'm just saying that, and a lot of times we have to look at maybe, and I'm talking about adults, not children,
of course,
that
yes.
maybe we have to look and see what was my part in this or what am I doing? We've got to look at our own dark sides occasionally.
Well, and if you don't, you'll just keep repeating it.
Oh, yeah.
Eventually, we must, regardless of the situation and how possibly victimized you were in a situation, there's still parts that you're going to need to look at. And eventually it comes along
Yeah.
and you got to
Yeah.
let go or be dragged, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, think about this, Tammy. You mentioned Charles Manson early in the podcast. And so he had by anybody's means, a crap childhood. It was horrible. Now, so he became this very charismatic leader. Could he have used that leadership, that charisma for good? Yeah, he could have. He didn't
Absolutely.
have to go the direction he went. We all have choices, regardless of what our past is.
Yeah. So, Connie Joe, it's been amazing.
You're amazing,
Um,
Tammy.
hey, it's easy to sit on my side and just learn from you. Um, how can people get in touch with you? Or they can always message me and I can get them in touch with you if they want to find out more about what's going on in their chart in their life.
I would love that. So you can email me at conniejo.soulnavigation at gmail.com, or you
Okay.
can just go to Soul Navigation, and that is where my readings are booked through, and book a reading if you would like. Feel free to email me and ask me questions. I'm open. So,
Very open and very responsive. And that's Connie J-O
yeah, J.O.
rather than J-O-E for those who don't know. Um, Connie is really very wise, knows her stuff. And she feels like someone who puts their arm around you too, because,
Oh,
usually if you're reaching out, there can be a lot of reasons why you just need somebody to sit with you too.
yeah,
So please do reach out to her, Connie Joe at soulnavigation@gmail.com.
yeah. You said that quicker than me. Yeah.
Well, wow. Okay. I hope I said that right.
No, you
If
did.
and if you don't get a response, it might be because something is out of place or misspelled. Just send me a message. I'll make sure that she gets that message. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. And I hope I can lure Connie Joe in to do, I mean, so many more. But Connie
Oh,
Joe, I meant just one more. Just one. I'll just I'll just feed you little pebbles at a time because I love
Oh,
having you
I
on.
love it. I enjoy it so much, Tammy. Thank you for having
Very useful. Very, my brain is blown. It just makes me want to go study more and learn
me.
more. So thank you, everyone. Blessings to you all.